I think you all know what that rock music means, everybody. It is the Sports Card Strategy Show. I'm Paul Hickey with NoOffSeason.com, and I've got my main man, Kendall Lefty McKee.
What's
he was
up?
In the waiting room here, and we were not saying any words to each other at all because we just wanted the show to start. Kendall, how's it going, man? Happy Thanksgiving. Hope you had a great holiday with your family and your wife, and good to see you, my man.
Yeah, it's been a heck of a week. Just action packed all day. Like, when you go on holiday or something, you think it's going to be just relaxing. And I got to a point this week where I was just like, I think I've done more this week than I've done in the last month. So, it's been just a scramble. But
the holiday scramble.
Paul, I've been thinking about vaulting cards. So why don't you tell me a little bit about your opinion there?
Well, you know what? It's funny that you mentioned that because I have a question for you. And it is, why vault your cards with the original marketplace? Because the eBay vault isn't just a way to protect what you collect, Kendall, but it's a new way to trade. Not only have your cards never been safer thanks to our secure, climate-controlled facility, but you're also locking in real savings. You pay no sales tax when you ship to or transact within the vault, and there are no storage fees for 2 years. Now, just imagine everything you can do with all that money. And with the eBay Vault's seamless in-app experience, you can track, buy, and sell your cards in real time. From listing your cards in seconds with eBay Collection to tracking trends with eBay Price Guide, managing your collection is more seamless than ever before. The eBay Vault, buy, sell, secure, and Kendall, been thinking, getting pretty good at these reads. I might go on Fiverr as a radio read professional. You can send me your read, and for $5, I'll read it for you and upload the audio file. Think I'd be able to get some gigs out of that?
I'd pay you. I'd pay for it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
I mean,
I have not used the eBay Vault yet, just for logistical reasons. But I think I'll try
some other vaults going on. So
yeah, I got a couple other vaults going on, PWCC and Collectors, which I'm a big fan of PWCC. I'm not a fan of Collectors Vault at all. But I am a fan of the PSA. I just saw on Instagram that PSA is extending their $15 per card submission level, 10 card minimum. That's nothing. I easily got 10 cards to send to PSA. I don't know about you. But
do you have to vault them
through the end of the year? So no, you don't have to vault them.
Okay.
You don't have to vault them. You can ship them back. You can vault them, I think, for free with Collector's Vault, but then you can't ship them anywhere for like 90 days without a penalty. So that kind of sucks.
Yeah, can I jump into my L of the week?
Yeah, let's jump into the L of the week. Let's hear what you got, man.
So this is a good transition for me because an L of mine that I've had this week is I have had a 20 card submission that I submitted in July when you did that has been in the very last stage of quality control. Like, how, it has that ticker. It's been in stage 2 of quality assessment since September. And I don't know what to do about it.
Yeah, it's almost December. That's shocking because I got mine back.
Yeah, you got yours back in September. Fast.
Yeah.
And the crappy thing about it is most of that 20 card submission was soccer cards.
Ooh. Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it's July. Definitely have enough time to turn it around before Thanksgiving.
They're killing it.
And here we are. Now, luckily, most of those cards were Gio Reyna's, so he hasn't exactly popped off at the World Cup, and there's been some controversy between him and Greg Berhalter, and it is what it is. So they probably wouldn't have sold anyway. But I'm upset. Yeah. I'm a little salty about it.
He's probably not liquid at all right now, Reyna. And there's a couple things I want to get into here in a second about. I want to hear all of what you have to say about the World Cup. I've been following it like crazy. But yeah, that sucks for you on the PSA submission. It's just annoying.
Yeah. And there's not from what I understand, there's not really a great way to ask about it,
No,
because
no.
it's just like another number in the thing, but
Yeah.
so it said, quality, the second assessment is like, they're checking labels and stuff like that. And so for me, I had one stuck in quality too for a while because it was my Indy Rodriguez that I paid a low amount for, and then they were like, no, you need to pay more. And that's why it took so long. But I haven't got any email about this, the 20 card. I don't know. So
Yeah, it could be like just an error on their end where maybe they caught a label that was wrong or, and then it had to go back. It could be, but yeah, you're right. There's really no way to get information from them. Like I've tried calling them and I've tried emailing them and they basically just say like, they kind of just have an auto response. So,
yeah.
but they also, I've noticed that their automated email system doesn't always work either. So I'll sometimes go into my account and I'll see that they moved up a different level without sending me an email that they had moved up a level. So, but I mean, it sounds like you're at the level where like they're gonna ship next. So like the
Yeah.
next
I'm just
the next
waiting
stuff
for
that
it to
you
come.
would get would be the grades.
Yes.
So
My next step is in my hands, like it's been all the way at the end since September.
yeah, that's that's annoying. Another so annoying for me. I hate to sound bitter, and U of M fans out there are gonna think that I sound bitter, but I'm a Spartan, and as a Spartan, I grew up a Michigan State Spartans fan. Most of my family went there, and I went there. That's where I met my wife. Subsequently, my kids are now big time Michigan State Spartans fans, and so I was locked into the I've been trying to think like how can Michigan not make it to the college football playoffs, and they snuck past Illinois a couple weeks ago, and then this past weekend they just absolutely blew the crap out of Ohio State. So my L of the week is this JJ McCarthy Bowman U auto out of 199 jumping up 31% based on U of M beating Ohio State and CJ Stroud. This particular card, courtesy of Slab Stocks, is down 11%. This is his. We're looking at CJ Stroud's on card auto tops now out of 99. He of course has Bowman U autos as well. These are cards. If you listen to the show, I like to talk about these kinds of cards often because I think there's huge opportunity with these cards. Now, as a fan and as a Michigan State fan specifically, we're all fans of sports in order to collect sports cards. So a lot of times our L of the week has to do not necessarily with a personal L of the week or a card related L of the week, but this one is I'm making it card related, even though it was a personal L of the week for me as a fan, a Michigan State fan specifically, watching Michigan basically seal their deal on the way to the college football playoffs, beating Ohio State. But also card related, like I think there's interesting things to talk about here, right? And this is why I brought it up as my L of the week, not just to bitch about being a Michigan State fan, but like CJ Stroud, he's a guy that I've written about at No Offseason. I think I've mentioned him in some sports card investor articles of mine. I've definitely written about him in the sports card investment report at nooffseason.com. So go check that out. You can get premium membership at nooffseason.com free for a year. Just email me at paul@nooffseason.com and you can check out all of CJ Stroud's cards that I recommend you buy by going on the football card rankings and clicking on CJ Stroud. But like, if this guy's going to be the number one pick, and he may or may not be, but he surely should be a first round pick if he does in fact enter the NFL draft. There are at least probably 3 to 5 guys that are slotted as quarterbacks that can make it into the first round of the 2023 draft. There's a path to success with buying a CJ Stroud Bowman U or Tops Now numbered auto this week, as Ohio State is no longer undefeated. They're no longer guaranteed of getting into the college football playoffs. CJ Stroud might not be headed for any kind of Heisman consideration or anything like that just because of this big loss to Michigan. And so as a result of that, if his prices are going to dip like this, I'm interested. I'm interested in buying CJ Stroud cards because, especially like a Bowman U auto, because there's a path to markers that are guaranteed to happen for him that will make his cards go back up in value so that you can profit. And I'm talking flipping CJ Stroud in April or in August. Both of those points would be hype around the NFL draft and then the start of the 2023 season. So L of the week for me is Michigan winning, but opportunity I want to talk about is related to the price movement on these Bowman U and Topps Now cards is legitimate price movement. There's opportunity here for sports card flippers and investors to make money off of these college cards. So that's my L of the week, Kendall. I don't know if you have a take on that.
Yeah, I think my small rebuttal here is that with this, when you have two, you see this a lot in the SEC, where you have like two top four teams that inevitably have to play each other. And one of them is going to get a loss. Like they can't both get out with a win. And so what I always do is I look at like the team in the 5, 6, 7 range that is going to get pushed up because of a game like this late in the season. And this year it happens to be this Michigan Ohio State game, which was a fantastic game. Like Michigan came in there and punched them in the mouth. Ohio State didn't really know it was going to go. Like didn't really expect that, I don't think. And but the card or the thing in the card market that I think is appealing, and unfortunately he only has Leaf cards, is Caleb Williams gets a shot in the arm because of this. Unfortunately, he only has Leaf autos. He doesn't have any Bowman or anything like that. But Caleb Williams is probably going to get in a playoff because of this in a USC jersey, which is interesting. The guy's been there before. Like they've got experience coaching. It's kind of cool to see USC back in college football playoff, lore. When I was growing up, USC was just dominant all day long. Like USC was the Alabama of my childhood. So,
yeah.
And so it's fun to see that kind of thing come back into play. And uniquely, I don't, this has nothing to do with cards right now, but the TCU team I grew up 4 miles away from like I grew up in Fort Worth, Texas. So TCU being good is like, okay, sick, all these powerhouses. And then you're like, oh, and TCU's in there, it's like,
yeah, I was rooting for the Horned Frogs to try to hop over the Wolverines. That's not going to happen, but they're looking good. I'm glad you brought up Caleb Williams though, because he's on the same path as a CJ Stroud or a Will Levis. I'm not sure how you say that, but he's right there with you in Lexington, right? So you've got Levis, you've got Stroud, Bryce Young, Levis. Thank you. You've got Caleb Williams. Great call on Caleb Williams. I agree with you on the Leaf, but I mean, here's the positive side of that. Because he only does have Leaf, then you go after his Leaf cards, because then what that means is unless he comes out in a Bowman U like 2022, I think it would technically be the 2022 release that would come out next. Unless he has a first Bowman auto in that set, then his Leaf autos are going to be the ones to own heading into the NFL draft and heading into August. If and when he is in an NFL uniform like Stroud and Levis. And so I think those three guys are definitely people to watch, people to pick up their cards. I don't know. Is Caleb Williams, I feel like there's a couple of these guys that might be headed for the 2024 class. And I don't know if Williams is going to be eligible in 2023 or not. But I do know that regardless, there's going to be a path to profit on his cards. And so whether it's the college football playoffs this year, if you were to pick up one of his cards in early December, and then the hype cycle actually really starts towards the beginning of January, or if it's more of an NFL draft path to profit. Either way, I like Caleb Williams in that regard also. So I'm glad you brought him up.
Yeah, he's a 23 draft. So
okay,
nice. It's honestly like I know it's just a Leaf auto, and I would never recommend historically, hey, go for this. But it kind of reminds me of our Sheree or Jackson
Shedeur
State.
Sanders.
Yes, it kind of reminds me of that. Of like, we have a guy that is a potential baller, but doesn't really have a cool like name brand set. So like, buy what you can and make some profit off of that, because Caleb Williams is a bona fide baller. Like, he is a
Yeah,
baller.
he is.
And it honestly surprises me that he just has Leaf autos. And to be honest, it's not, or to be fair, he also does have a pro set auto, but
That's also a Leaf.
that is also garbage. So
ProSet is owned by Leaf, for those of you who don't know. Most of you guys may know that because we have a very astute audience here in the Sports Card Strategy Show. But
I just assume that nobody pays attention to Leaf autos at all. So, but this is, I mean, they're encased, they have some appeal. And so if you're looking to make a sneaky Caleb Williams play because you think he's going to ball at, in this college football playoffs, which he could, that's a legitimate thing. Sneaky play.
Yeah. And the thing is too, like, I'll say this again. I think I've said it before, but I think, like, it is worth mentioning over and over again for people who may have missed it, is, you look at, okay, when did Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, when did their Prism set come out as rookies? It didn't really come out until like July, after their full rookie season had ended. And so while they had Don Russ come out a few months prior to that, really their first real pro release didn't come out until the end of their rookie season. And so, or towards the end of their rookie season, towards the second half of their rookie season. So the point is, there is a longer runway than ever for these Bowman U autos and even these Leaf autos to actually be flipped, because you can get them now and then you can wait. And like with Stroud or Williams or Levis, you can say, hey, look, if there isn't a hype spike, if their draft status is baked in and there isn't a hype spike in the draft, there could be another hype spike if they win a starting job heading into the season. Kenny Pickett, good example. Kenny Pickett had a huge hype spike during the draft, had another hype spike heading into the season, and then had another one when he finally got the starting nod over Mitchell Trubisky. So there could be a third hype spike for a Stroud or for a Levis or for a Williams if and when they do win a starting job, if they haven't had their opportunity to see their cards rise in value prior to that for the draft or for the August, training camp season. And oh, by the way, it's probably going to be week 10 or 11 or 12 before their first pro release even sniffs the shelves. So I really think that, even these Leaf autos, I know that they're not going to be the card to own after that first year. Like, they're going to plummet in value after that first year. But just from when I got really back into the hobby about, 2.5, 3 years ago, it's totally different. Like, before it was like, don't touch these things with a 12-foot pole. And now it's like, well, we're actually seeing action on these things and they're a little bit more liquid. So they're definitely not going to be the card to own long-term, but I'd say there's like almost a full year of runway with these cards to potentially be the card to be able to be flipping. So, my L of the week basically turns into a conversation about a lot of opportunity, I think, with these college rookie cards. So, Kendall, good stuff. What do you have as your W of the week this week?
So my W of the week goes back to one of the World Cup games that I watched this weekend. That Spain-Germany game yesterday was unreal. I was sitting watching it, and I was just impressed and thankful that I was watching a game that had so many players on the field that were under 25 that are dominant. Like, when you look at those rosters, there are names that are just flying off of the page. Like, of course you've got Pedri and Gavi and but you also on the other side have Musiala and Makoko, and like there's just like so many players in those two teams. And when they squared up, I was just like, okay, this is going to be sick. And it was an awesome game to watch. Like, Spain totally played their game, and Germany, like, was able to squeak a goal in at the end to tie it 1-1. People are like, oh my gosh, like, you love a tie. Like, I'll be honest with you, Americans. I don't love ties. Unless your team is the suckier of the two, ties are like, oh crap, But what we saw on that field with Germany versus Spain, I was just thinking about investments that we've been talking about over the last 5-6 months. Like we've been talking about Gavi, Pedri, Musiala is a guy that I mentioned in one of my things. Unfortunately, Wirtz did not make this Germany squad because he wasn't ready to come back from his ACL injury. But people are talking about him potentially going to Barcelona. So these squads. I mean, Makoko is like I said last week, like he's one of the last guys I was looking at before the World Cup was starting to like make a last ditch investment. I didn't end up pulling that trigger, and I'm kind of glad about that because he hasn't really gotten the minutes that I thought he was potentially going to get because he's 17. And I think like watching him with Borussia Dortmund, you're like, wow, this dude's dominant. But when you look at him on the national team, you're like, oh yeah, he's also super young and small, and so like the World Cup game is different than club sport, so people could potentially body him or stuff like that. I'm not trying to make excuses for Makoko. I'm just saying like there will be his time to shine. But I was watching that and then watching Mbappe do what he was doing. Like he has 7 World Cup goals already. He's tied with Lionel Messi, and he's probably got 3 World Cups left.
Yeah, he's only 23, maybe 24.
Yeah,
maybe barely 24, but
so maybe he's got more than 3. Like who knows?
Yeah.
But that was awesome. Watching Messi win over Mexico was awesome. Like I've just had an incredible experience watching this 2022 World Cup. I know people are wildly offended by me saying that I'll even watch it. I've got so much backlash from my own peer group of like, why would you watch such a corrupt FIFA, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you know what? My little one view on my TV is not going to bring down FIFA, and I need to be tuned in because this is dope soccer. So
I feel like, well, okay, so I am right there with you on everything you just said on the World Cup. It's a win for me also. Just, I was not interested in soccer at all before I moved to Spain 5 years ago. And within the first year here, I started to understand the game a little bit more, started to go to some matches. And now I really enjoy it. My wife can't believe it because I used to talk so much crap about how much I hated soccer. But once I started watching it and kind of understanding the game and the flow of the game for what it is, I really do appreciate it. I am not at a knowledge level where I can by any means break down the game, but to watch a 0-0 tie, US against England was actually a fun game for me to watch. All of the American friends that I talked to about that thought I was crazy for saying that I enjoyed watching a 0-0 tie. So I'm right there with you. I feel like, anecdotally, Americans definitely don't get it the way that the rest of the world does in general. I mean, that's not to say there aren't American soccer fans that really, really do get it. Obviously, Southern Soccer Idiot, a loyal audience member to the show, yourself, many of people in your network that you are really good friends with. There's a lot of great American soccer fans, don't get me wrong, but I just think in general, everything else dominates college football, NFL, NBA, college basketball, baseball. Everything else dominates soccer in the States. And so to see a 0-0 tie might be a little underwhelming. And so, but I enjoyed it. It's a win for me.
Yeah, 20 million other people enjoyed it. So, that's the largest soccer game that's ever been broadcasted. So,
Speaking of Southern Soccer Idiot,
what's up, man?
Good to have you on the show. Thanks for commenting. We'll get to Benjamin Clayton's question here in a second. And good morning, YouTube 1984. Appreciate all you guys chiming in with comments. Everybody out there in the audience, like, let us know what you think of the show, and we'll answer your questions. My W of the week is World Cup related as well. And It is that they're Christian Pulisic. Like,
Yep.
I hadn't ever really let me rephrase that. I had not ever seen him play until the game against Wales. because just situationally, there was never an opportunity. The games just aren't on in my region for the U.S. men's national team until the World Cup, and I would guess that a lot of other people that are sports fans like myself that don't really religiously follow the U.S. men's national team are probably in the same boat. Where I would guess that there's several 100,000 or millions of other people had never seen, like, knew about him, but had never really seen him play until the last two games as well. And I'm super impressed to the point where his shot off the crossbar against
That was a ringer,
England
dude.
was one of the best attempts on goal that I have seen as a soccer fan over the last 5 years. And the reason why Christian Pulisic is also my win of the week, my W of the week is for all of you audience members, his card market, believe it or not, over the last 7 days, in spite of his really, really amazing play in the last two games, and even over the last 14 days, is down. So, and it wasn't necessarily up before that either. So this is not data manipulation. If you go back 30 days, his card market was still down 18%. 60 days, his card market was down 18.9%. Kendall and I have been talking about deals on Christian Pulisic cards for at least the last 3 to 5 months. Like, if you go back into the archives of the Sports Card Strategy Show, he has been our buy of the week multiple times. He's been in our gauntlet multiple times. He's been in our would you rather multiple times. And every single time we have pointed out Christian Pulisic cards that you should buy. I am here to tell you now, Kendall did this with O'Neal Cruz back in May. He said, this is going to be the last chance you guys have to buy O'Neal Cruz cards. He's done it with ND Rodriguez. I'm going to do it right here with Christian Pulisic. This is the last chance, after seeing this guy play, that you have to buy Christian Pulisic cards before his market just goes berserk, because the United States is going to beat Iran. They're going to make it past the group stage. Pulisic is due for a big goal game. He's due. And when that happens, there is going to be a price spike. And I do not want Sports Card Strategy Show audience members buying into Christian Pulisic at that point. I want you buying into him now so that you can profit when these prices go up, because this guy is legit. I wasn't sure. I was pretty sure, but I wasn't sure. But now I'm here to tell you he's legit. And if you invest in him now, you're going to have multiple opportunities, some of which are going to come over the next 7 days, some of which are going to come over the next 24 hours for you to cash in on this guy. Many more of which are going to come in over the next 4 years, as I think this guy is definitely going to be the face of the U.S. men's national team as the U.S. men's national team continues to improve towards the 2026 World Cup. Kendall's been on this, I'm just piggybacking off of Kendall. He's been on this team for a long time. I've now seen them play, and I'm a believer. So I think Christian Pulisic is my win of the week, because I got to brag a little bit on Kendall and I being right about how good he is. But the good news is, for all of you audience members, his card prices have not really spiked yet, but they will. So I think you guys can go ahead and still buy in on him and cash in, like I said, maybe even over the next 48 hours, but definitely over the next 4 years.
Yeah, with Pulley, especially with this team not knowing who their goal scorer is, we don't have a number 9 that's just popping off. And so with Pulley being able to, he's also going to get residual bumps from the way that he facilitates. He facilitates really well. He's a playmaker as well. So that play that you're talking about, straight off of left side of the box, he's like close to the further out, almost outside of the box, and then he just rips one with his left foot, and it was fairly I've said to my buddy Trey, who we've had on the Sports Card Show, I looked over at him and I was like, that was impressive. because like
Right.
the amount of power he got on that ball from standing still, essentially, I was like
I
the
was
fact
I
the
was
fact that
impressed.
Jordan Pickford even got a hand on that was because I've seen Jordan Pickford do horrendously awful things because he's my club keeper and has been for years, and so I've seen Jordan Pickford make just some of the worst saves I've ever seen in my life. But that 0-0 draw against England was such a good win for this USA team. I think they're going to come into Iran buzzing, and I think the good thing for the USA team is if they get into that second spot. So if they beat Iran, they ended up qualifying, which isn't it. Iran's not a person you're just going to steamroll. They are the 20th team in FIFA rankings right now. They're the best team in Asia. And so it's not like they're just going to roll over. And with all the controversy going on right now, with all of the USA and Iran, I don't know. Are you familiar with that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay, so the United States Soccer Federation released some posts, and they removed the crest from the middle of the Iran flag in their social media posts, and it was a nod towards female footballers needing rights in Iran. There's been a whole debacle over the last. There's a whole lot of a debate about that, and I'm not really wanting to get into that. Other than I will say I believe that female footballers should have the same rights. But so anyway, U.S. Soccer Federation sent some some Twitter and Instagram posts without the logo. So then the Iran national government is now upset. They're coming into this game. There's already political tension in this game anyway from the last 20 years basically of these nations kind of having a little at some points they've had this Cold War standoff, and at some points, they've had actual action, and so this game politically is going to be pretty significant, and I hope that nothing, dangerous happens. But what I am saying is this team is going to come out and want to beat the USA team because they're tired of being, kicked on, or whatever. And so this game is not going to be Iran's going to lay down and let USA get into the the elimination round. But when and if USA gets into that second spot, they will play the winner of Group A. Group A, Netherlands or Ecuador is probably going to get out of Group A there. And both of those teams I think we favor very well against. Netherlands has a couple of good young stars, and I would say I would say that they're good as well. I'm just saying USA is set up, and even when you look at their next level, if they get past whoever wins that Group A, the Group C and the other side of that bracket as well, we could have some favorable draws over the next two rounds. If we get into that second spot, I think it benefits us. But Pulisic is definitely a good buy right now, especially if you're looking at a guy that is in the United States men's national team that's going to have some run over the next, even if you're going to do the next couple weeks. Yeah, it's a good play, but Pulisic is going to be a good buy over the next couple of years because there's tons of United States national team markers that he's going to hit. There's tons of other markers within his club history that he's going to hit. He's already been he's been the odd man out on this Chelsea team. And as soon as he was having the performance he did against England yesterday, I knew this was going to happen. But immediately other Premier League teams want him. Immediately. There's already been talk about him being at Newcastle. There's already been talk about him being in other teams. But immediately his price went up. Now, Tyler Adams, that is a different story. Don't think you should invest in Tyler Adams, but holy hell, this dude is freaking good. I saw a tweet that was 70% of the world is covered by water and the other 30% is Tyler Adams. So he's just unreal right now. But let's go to Soccer Idiot's prediction here.
Yeah. Soccer Idiot says Pulisic leaves Chelsea in the next transfer window or two and moves to Leeds United to join up with head coach Marsh and Tyler Adams and Brendan Aronson. Well,
that is a take.
I really like it. I really think that he's he's either gonna leave Chelsea or get on the pitch. Like, I mean, one of the two. I mean, he's just too good to be on the bench in Chelsea, I believe.
I don't think he ends up making that squad with Chelsea because, I mean, Mason Mount plays more English football than Pulisic. Pulisic doesn't really fit the mold of what's going on. Like, excuse me, like he is doing good things and he's a great player and all this kind of stuff, but he doesn't really exactly fit everything that's going on. Like, and also he's extremely rebellious. So like you either need to like put Pulisic on the field and just let him do whatever you want, or he's going to be a headache all day long. You know, because he's like that roughneck American, which is how he got to being as good as he is. Like, he's just not going to take no for an answer. You know, so like there have been times where Chelsea has put him on the field and they're like, we want you to do this. And he's like, F you guys, I'm going to score. And he did.
Which is why Americans like him.
Right. But still, like, that's why it's not in great favor. And, you know, and so he's going to have to move to a team that's going to be like, Pulisic is our guy. You know, he's gonna go out there every single week. You know, like he's gonna, and he will get that. I think, but it won't be with Chelsea because Chelsea has so many stables of good players that like they never have really ran off of one guy. You know, like I mean, previously, like, you know, in a previous cycle they have, but in this current season, like they're just like match up good players all the time. And so like when Pulisic is in there, he has like, they put him in there as like a super sub where he brings super energy off the bench and he's going to score that late banger, you know, or he's going to change the tide and push pressure forward. And that is what Pulisic does. You saw it. He does it the whole game for America.
Right.
But like,
and that's what's impressive is like he's doing it for the whole game, which I think is a game changer. And that's kind of what we're talking about, him moving on to another club, because he's got like, if he looked winded and like could only do it for the first half, then it'd be like, okay, well, this guy, like Chelsea's got him in the right spot, you know, like he's Vinny the Microwave Johnson coming off the bench. But like, no, he's like he's a full game star and he's got to be on the pitch. So I agree with Southern Soccer Idiot in terms of like, I don't know if it's going to be Leeds. That would be awesome.
That would be nuts.
That would be like
I would be pretty upset for Brendan Aronson though, because Brendan Aronson always, his entire national team history has been like, yeah, he's good, but he like plays the same position as Pulisic, kind of. So like, who are you gonna play? You know, like that's been that narrative. They don't exactly play the same position, but like it's close. And they both play the same style. We were calling Aronson this week the mosquito because he's just everywhere and he's annoying the whole time, you know, when he's on the pitch. And so I would feel a little bit upset for Brendan Aronson if he went to Leeds because Pulisic would like come in and steal his thunder again. And I think Brendan is like, dude, just let me create myself, you know, like, but
Benjamin Clayton remembers when we called it.
Thanks, Benjamin.
And Kendall called it. And so let's go to Benjamin Clayton's question about Jordan Love, because my guy, Aaron Rodgers, who I cannot stand, came out of the game with a rib injury in Sunday Night Football against the Eagles, and the Packers suck this year, which is awesome. And so Jordan Love stepped in and completed 6 of 9 passes for 113 yards. A touchdown, did not turn the ball over that I can see in the box score. I did not watch the game, so that's good. Benjamin's question is, would you sell Jordan Love rookie after last night? I can tell you that the data on Market Movers, marketmoversapp.com, if you use the promo code no offseason, all lowercase, you get your first month for only $1. I can tell you that he's up quite a bit. But I don't know, like, so it depends. If you've been holding Jordan Love and you've been like, annoyed that you're holding Jordan Love and you just want to get rid of him, because like, if you guys listen to the show, that happens with me. I've been the one, like, I'm the one out of the two of us that, like, I get frustrated with seeing the same card in my collection and I want to move on from it. And so like, if I were holding Jordan Love right now personally, and I could get like $20 for a card that maybe I bought for a little bit more, a little bit less, and it's just been sitting there, like I would, but like I can tell you that his overall over the last 7 days, his price is up and he's super liquid right now. So it could be a good time to sell. I wouldn't fault you for it, but I can also say that, they did take him as a second round pick in 2020, I believe. Aaron Rodgers is old. He's not good anymore. Sorry, everyone who loves Aaron Rodgers, but he's just not good anymore. And he can make all the excuses that he wants, but it just tells you that he's a cranky old man and he needs to get out of there. And so in that regard, Jordan Love, his value could steadily increase if he continues to, like, if he does actually take over for Aaron Rodgers. So it's a little bit, it's not as clear cut to me as like, yeah, unload your Jordan Love now. But Kendall, what do you think?
Yeah, I was watching this game last night when he came in, and there was at one point I had some Jordan Love cards in 2020 probably, or maybe 21, early 21, where I was like, yeah, I think this guy's going to be the next, it was when all the speculation was happening of like, is Aaron going to retire? Can he come back to the Packers? Blah, blah, blah. And then there was like the whole him being immunized or whatever. During all that, I bought some Jordan Love cards. And then when Aaron Rodgers came back, I just got frustrated and sold my whole football collection. Like, I was just like, I'm done with this. I got burned by Tua really bad, which honestly, if I had just held all those cards, I'd probably be fine right now because I'd have Jordan Love and Tua, basically. I did have one Baker card, which was like, okay, that one didn't work out for me. But in the same vein, like, I do think this is a good opportunity to get out of Jordan Love if you've been staring at those cards for a while. And I don't think Jordan Love is going to be the Packers quarterback of the future either. He had a good game last night. When he came in, he had nice dimes. Like, he was throwing the ball well, looked confident in the pocket, looked like it honestly looked like, because Aaron Rodgers has not been practicing on Wednesdays for the majority of this season to try to lengthen his career. But it looked like this is Jordan Love's team, that he went out there. He looked like he was throwing the ball well with Allen Lazard. Like he was, handing the ball off confidently. It looked like this was Jordan Love's team that Aaron Rodgers has been taking control of over the last 6 months. Aaron Rodgers hasn't looked like he had good chemistry with that team. It's looked like he was the old bossy guy coming barking orders about all these young players that are trying to like make a name for themselves. And then you have him come in and he hits Watson. Like he hits the guy that we're like, yeah, that guy's kind of like just as, what is that?
We told you to sell him last week.
Yeah. And then he hits him for like a dime. And and then he's throwing the ball around. And I think if that game had gone any longer, the Packers had a legit chance at coming back and tying that game. And so I was impressed with what I saw. But unfortunately, I don't think he's the quarterback of the future for that Packers team. I think they're going to move on from him because it's the similar thing to like the Trey Lance scenario. I think they brought in those guys and they thought they were going to be amazing. And then they saw some stuff in camp where they're like, crap, we got to go sign Aaron, and crap, we got to go sign Jimmy Garoppolo because these guys don't have the top end of what we thought they did. And they're good, serviceable quarterbacks for, 1 or 2 games, but they're going to get schemed out really quickly. And I think that seems to be the case for Jordan Love. So I would sell.
Yeah, I like that. I think you sold me on selling Jordan Love. So hopefully, Benjamin, that helps. Thanks for the question. Quick shout out to YouTube 1984. They say they run a Whatnot channel for a couple of years and they find our commentary extremely useful. Thank you so much. I would love to learn more about your Whatnot channel. So feel free to drop it in the comments here. We'll show it to the audience, shout it out. And I know Kendall can probably speak on that a little bit because he breaks. And I'm becoming more and more interested in just consuming some Whatnot, some Loop. I talked to the guys over at Drip. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Drip, but dripshop.live, I think, is their URL. So, I haven't really been as much into those platforms, mainly because of my own personal situation living in Spain. I can't really buy on Whatnot because of my location, and I can't really watch the streams because they're just at odd times for me for the most part, even though I know people are streaming kind of at all hours of the day. It's just not something that I've been able to participate in as part of the hobby, but I'm kind of considering just at least getting more involved from a viewership standpoint, just to learn more about what's going on there. So that's cool. YouTube 1984. Kendall, before we go into the buy of the week, give us a quick little update on what you got going on in the breaking world.
Yeah, we've been breaking Bowman Chrome the past couple of weeks, and I was not really excited about the way the way that Chrome was going to come out. I thought they were heavily top loaded on some things. Jackson Churio has his first auto in this. Jackson Merrill has his first auto in this, which is what, those are guys that we talked about in our baseball card strategy show when we were renumbering our baseball card.
Ranking. Yeah.
Yeah. And so these are guys that I think are going to be around long term. But the cool thing is Churio's autos are going for banana money. Like it is nuts.
This is Chrome 2022, right?
Yeah,
so
Chrome 2022.
Okay.
Launched this week on Thanksgiving.
Where are you breaking?
So we are breaking on Twitter, or we're selling spots on Twitter, but we're breaking on Twitter and on our YouTube page. So you guys can catch us at wildcards_LLC on Twitter. We currently have 5 spots open for a break that's probably going to close today. And it's a half case. So it's not like, we broke a half case earlier this week and pulled some wild cards out of it, honestly. And
nice. No pun intended.
Yes, nice catch. But so we ran it back with another half case, and it's just, this is a product that right now is just so fun to look at. There's even the inserts are cool looking. So we're breaking some Bowman 22. I'm liking what we're seeing. I'm liking what I'm seeing in the rest of the hobby as well. When I tune into other breakers, typically if a product is good or not in that first couple of hours of watching some stuff hit the shelves, or hit the mats, I guess is what I would say in terms of breaking.
Hit the mats.
But there are some great players in this set. There's a lot of money to be made here. But right now the money to be made in Bowman 22 is getting some break spots, and anything that you pull, sell it immediately
list it.
Yeah, because Bowman Chrome has a super inflated. I mean, right now Churio autos are going for oranges are going for $14K, so it's it's unreal, and
14K. Orange is out of 25, right?
Yeah. So there's just some crazy money being floated around, which is insane. We have Churio on our list, and I would say don't invest in him right now.
But the sports card market's down.
Yes. And so the sports card market is down, and
it's plummeting, everyone.
A prospect who's 18 years old and in AA is getting, 14K sales.
Yeah,
people
get just your head out of your ass, everyone.
People just get randomly hyped about the craziest stuff. Yes, Churio is good, but now everyone is trying to find a Churio card, and it's just, and also his brother's in this set. So then there's other Churio cards which are getting residual.
What's his brother's name?
Jackson. And so he plays for Cleveland, and so his brother is getting hyped because of what's going on, and so it's just but it is a good set. I like what we're seeing. Gutierrez off the Rangers, I think, is a sneaky play. There's just a lot of good young talent in this class. But to take it all with a grain of salt, because Bowman Chrome typically is international free agents and guys that have kind of popped off later. And so you have guys that are in this set that probably or that are most certainly overpriced, most certainly. So be careful if you're buying singles right now of Bowman 22. I would go out and buy singles of Bowman Draft 21 right now, or Bowman Chrome 21 right now, or Bowman.
But not Khalil Watson.
Yeah, not Khalil Watson. No,
he
don't
moved
buy
off.
that.
He did not. He was not in our top baseball card rankings. But I want to jump back in. Great stuff, Kendall. Thanks for that update. Jason Churio is Jackson's brother. You said Jackson's brother was Jackson, so I just wanted to correct you.
Yes, Jason Churio.
So Jackson Churio, for those of you who don't know, because I know there's a large portion of our audience is like very, very interested in getting into baseball. So there's a lot of people that listen to the show that are into the other sports and that really want to get into baseball. And so one thing I learned about baseball, this is going to sound dumb to people who already are in baseball, but you buy Bowman firsts and you buy Bowman first autos. That's what you want. And so
that's only what you buy.
That's literally only what you buy. And so Jackson Churio, who Kendall is very high on, he's in our top 10, I think, at nooffseason.com baseball card rankings. He did not have an auto in 2022 Bowman. So his firsts were in there, but he didn't have any autos. And so now what Kendall's saying is his first ever auto is out in 2022 Bowman Chrome baseball. So that's probably the biggest chase, I would guess. But I like what Kendall just, so Jason is his brother who is probably getting some play because Jackson is so popular. But anyway, Kendall's also saying that, and I love this strategy for every single sport, by the way. Go back and buy, because Bowman 2022 Chrome is so hot, and because Bowman 2022 Draft is going to come out like a month from now, most likely, and that's going to be the next hottest thing. Go back and buy singles of 2021 Draft over the next month, because that's going to be the best time to do that. So actually, that's a great segue into buy of the week. And so typically what we do is pull data from marketmoversapp.com. And again, if you didn't catch this earlier on in the show, you can go to marketmoversapp.com, get your first month for only $1 by using the promo code NOOFFSEASON. It helps us out as well. And so I have been saying buy baseball and buy F1, but because I know that people really, really want to buy what's actually happening right now, and baseball and F1 are not really like hot right now from a sports standpoint. They're dwindling down, which is why it's the best time to buy them. But because football is not dwindling down, I'm going to pull some data from nooffseason.com. So if you go to nooffseason.com and join our premium sports card investment report, which you can save 20% by using the promo code NOOFFSEASON. Or if you just want a year for free, email me at paul@nooffseason.com. We don't track data of all the cards like Card Ladder and Market Movers do. We don't attempt to track data for more than the cards that we think you should be buying. And so the 2021 Absolute Kaboom Tom Brady, it's in a Bucks uniform. There's two 2021 Kaboom Tom Brady's. This is the K19. He's in a Bucks uniform. This is down significantly from where it was in August and even in October in all grades, but ungraded PSA 9. It's just not as popular, and so it's not as expensive. So one just sold for $745 ungraded a couple weeks ago. And that same card sold 5 weeks prior to that for $1,300. And then a week after that for $1,000. So there's like 25 to 40% margin in this card right now. And even though the Bucks are, I think, 5-6 after a loss yesterday to Kendall's Cleveland Browns.
Let's go, dude. I wanted to say it so bad.
So props to Kendall and his Cleveland Browns for beating Tom Brady. I love that because I don't really like Tom Brady, but I do like the idea of you buying this card if you can afford it, because even though the Bucks are 5-6, they're still atop the NFC South, and someone will make the playoffs from the NFC South. A division winner by NFL rules, even if they're under 500, will still make the playoffs. And so we could see some weird things happen in the NFC this year. We could see all 4 teams from the NFC East make the playoffs, and we could see a team under 500 potentially from the NFC South also make the playoffs in the same year. So regardless of whether or not that happens, the Bucks have a good chance to make the playoffs. And with Tom Brady at the helm, they got a good chance to sneak their way, past that wild card round. And when that happens, his prices start going up. So I like this Tom Brady. And then again, just kind of following the same trends. I've been on Patrick Mahomes since the card market turned on him in early, I say early 2021, early on in the 2021 NFL season when the Chiefs got off to a slow start. The card market turned on him in a big way, and he never really bounced back from that. And so Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs are 9-2. This is the guy. This is the guy for the short term and the long term. His market is just still like there's a lot of budget buys when you look at Patrick Mahomes. So you look at these are all non-rookies. So if you go to some of his 2018 select, 2019 select, some like premier level select PSA 10, this is not going to be a popular card to get graded. And that's probably why it's only a pop 91, but you can go buy that card for $45 and it normally sells for about twice that. So there's a lot of Patrick Mahomes plays that are available. You're just always going to be able to move a Patrick Mahomes card, especially when the Chiefs are making it deep into the playoffs. So I think there's a lot of plays in football. Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes are, may seem like Captain Obvious picks from me, but I don't really think they are. So, that's what I've got for buy of the week, Kendall. Let me just see real quick before I hand it over to you. Okay, so I actually also have Zach Wilson. So everyone's going to be on Mike White. And I like to go the other direction when this kind of stuff happens because everything changes week by week. I've said it a million times. The NFL is the greatest soap opera in the world. And so it's great that Mike White played awesome yesterday and that Jets fans are going to claim him as their guy, but that could change in an instant as well. Zach Wilson, there's really nothing wrong with him other than the fact that he kind of made a mistake throwing his teammates under the bus in a press conference. The Jets are still very good. Anything can happen to a quarterback on any play, and Mike White is not the guy. I'm sorry, but he's just not. So like Zach Wilson is still the guy, and his entire market has dipped considerably since Mike White got the starting job, and especially since he played really well this past week. So I still like Zach Wilson. Go get Zach Wilson rookie PSA 10s in Prism and in Select and in Don Russ. You can get him for super cheap. And I think he's not a long-term hold to me. You move him in a couple of weeks when he retakes the starting job and the Jets are looking at a playoff run, maybe with him as the starter. So he's still young and he's got a long career to go. Kendall likes him because, for some of his off the field prowess with the ladies, but I got three quarterbacks, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, and Zach Wilson as my buys of the week. Kendall, what do you think?
Yeah, I think there is an interesting play with and this is controversial and not something I'm super into right now, but I think Deshaun Watson could also be one right there.
Yeah.
He's going to get back on the field this week against the Texans. And although I wouldn't be buying him per se, I am a Browns fan and I understand what's going on and I'm not happy about it. Yes. Okay. All that aside, people are going to be buying his cards when he absolutely wallops the Texans next week. So
yeah, that's a good call. And then that also makes it interesting with Jacoby Brissett because he's played really well this year.
yeah.
And so something could happen with, I don't think people have truly invested in him seriously because of Deshaun Watson looming. So what if something happens with Watson from an injury standpoint? Brissett could be, he could be hot in a few weeks. Like Deshaun, that's the NFL. That's football cards. I think baseball cards, soccer cards, basketball cards, they're a little bit less risky to invest in. These football cards, man, anything can change like that. I like that you mentioned Deshaun Watson. Okay, shout out Chad Gill. Glad to have you on the live show. We've got great audience participation today. I am pumped. And VJ Patel, running card collector, I believe, on Instagram, just wanted to say hi. Hectic week with the World Cup. Love it. You're locked into the World Cup. VJ's in the UK, so that's great. Good to see you guys. Kendall, who do you got for your buy of the week?
So I went a little bit traditional. I'm not trying to do smoke and mirrors here. I bought 2 F1 slabs this week. And then I've bought 3 Bowman prospects as well. Like, I'm not trying to get crafty with it. I'm just buying what is cheap right now. And so
Yeah, love it.
I ended up I bought less for an investment standpoint, but also still I think it's investable. I bought both of the McLaren drivers for 2022 this week.
Yes, that's awesome.
I bought their Sapphires, PSA 10s, and I think I was looking at these prices and I was like, man, Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris have been very expensive in the last 12 months. And I think I was getting some pretty great deals on their cards right now. I got both of their slabs for under $200, which I think is a great buy.
No,
And there's other plays to be made. Russell is right in there. You know, we've said this, you know, we've talked about this weeks ago, but Russell is going to be the number 1 for this Mercedes team going forward.
yeah,
Lewis Hamilton is on the way out and probably going to go back to McLaren at some point. I could see that narrative play out. And Lando Norris is going to go on and be some Ferrari driver or something. You know, he's going to join back up with his former teammate. You know, that this is all Kendall's F1 speculation, but
Kendall, you need to do the next F1 card strategy show with me. I can't nail Greg Longtoe down to a time, so I think we're just gonna have to overtake him on the F1 card strategy show.
You know, I'm willing to sit in on that. Anyway, so I ended up buying both McLaren drivers this week. And then Tristan Casas, I was talking to RM last night from justbaseball.com, and he was like, dude, I don't understand why Tristan Casas is so cheap. He's a guy that could potentially win Rookie of the Year next year. We've saw how Pena and Rodriguez cards just flew this last year. Casas is a Boston Red Sox. Everybody loves to buy Boston Red Sox. You know, it's kind of like the Jets. You know, anyone does well on their team, everybody's going out to buy something. You know, like, it's a very loyal fan base. They love to spend money on their players. And so with that, yes, I don't know what your keys are. Sorry. Sorry. And so in that same vein, Tristan Casas is a good buy right now. But that is going back to what I said earlier by going several Bowman products back and buying the prospects that are in those sets. What I'm doing this year is I've sold 4 or 5 cards this week to get a bankroll up to buy a pretty hefty Jordan Lawler card. Because I think he's going to be rookie, the top prospect in baseball soon. And I think that Arizona team is going to get some incredible run for him. So I'm looking to buy a significant color Jordan Lawler auto. So
that, my friends in the audience, is sports card investing genius advice from Kendall, Lefty, McKee to target a card like a big Jordan Lawler card, for example, and then basically piece together your profits from smaller transactions, smaller plays into a big one, because that one will pay off for sure. My biggest payoff over the last year was the Jordan Poole 300. I think I bought it for maybe $320 raw at the National from Chase Krim of Texas Roadshow Card Shop. And luckily got it graded a PSA 10. And that was, I think it sold for $1,400. And, you know, that's I
would imagine that card's way down right now as well.
That's a card. I think so. I think it is. I haven't checked, but I sold it knowing that I was either going to sell it at the beginning of the NBA hype cycle, which is October, or if the Warriors make another playoff run, and that's just not guaranteed with how strong the West is, and Jordan Poole and Klay Thompson back for a full year and all that. I mean, Jordan Poole, I believe he is the future of the Warriors backcourt. He did sign an extension in October, but that just doesn't mean that his card market is going to do anything for a while. But my point is, like, it takes a rookie ticket auto in the basketball card world in a PSA 10 to make a significant profit from time to time. And it takes a big Jordan Lawler card in the baseball prospecting world, knowing that he does have a chance to move up from a top 10 prospect into the number 1 prospect. And when that happens and he gets the call up and you're going to be holding one of his cards, I'll say early well done to you on that one. Here's the Piastri card that one of the Piastri cards Kendall bought. So Kendall texted me and he's like, I just pulled trigger on this bad boy. What do you think? It's a Piastri Topps Chrome Sapphire 2021 release. So the future stars PSA 10, brilliant call. He said, what do you think it's worth? And I was just in the middle of a bunch of different stuff. So I just said $200 question mark. I thought if he paid $200 for this, good on him. He paid $110. So I'm not saying this to brag about how amazing Kendall is. I'm saying go buy Oscar Piastri PSA 10s right now. I overpaid after the release in, I think, March or April was when the F1 releases really came out for 2021. And I knew about Piastri and I just went all in on him then. And I overpaid. I'll still probably profit because I'll sell at the right time. But if I were buying now like Kendall is, I'd be much happier with my odds on profiting on Oscar. So we need an Oscar Piastri sound effect on this show because I think we're going to be talking about him a lot in the coming months.
Just like meow.
Yeah,
a car driving by.
There it is. I'm gonna sample something off of Drive to Survive and drop it in on the show. Okay, so here's what I've got to sell, Kendall. It's time. In short, it's time to get your football cards out that you ripped. Because I know almost everyone in the audience ripped a bunch of football cards over the last several years and probably basketball cards. There's going to be one name, actually two names in the basketball card market that I would sell right now and several names that I'll call out in the football card market that I would sell. But in general, because there is so much attention and there will be so much attention on week by week NFL leading up to the playoffs, fantasy football playoffs, everything. We will see different things happen with different players as the regular season winds down and as the playoffs approach and as the playoffs happen. Elijah Mitchell's market is up right now. Yeah. Okay. This is an example. Sell. Mike White, his market is up right now. This is an example. Sell. Darius Slay, who is a defensive player, his market is up right now. Sell. Okay. So it's not to say, I'm not like saying, hey, everybody, like if you've got Elijah Mitchell cards, sell. That's an example. What I'm saying is we all have NFL cards that we've ripped and we've set aside. Kendall, he's a breaker. He also sells a lot on eBay and other platforms. So when he sells cards, he uses extra cards as bonus material for the buyer, which is just a great thing to do for a lot of reasons. Kendall's a great human. I know you people probably do that as well. What I'm telling you though is before you're using these cards as extra packing material, check and make sure what these guys have done or what they might have the opportunity to do as the NFL season continues and list their cards. Cause you could actually get $18 for a Darius Slay card that was worth nothing a week ago. Or an Elijah Mitchell card, or, one of these guys, right? An example in the basketball world right now, I would love to hear what the audience thinks of this, but I just don't think Kevin Huerter's market is going to necessarily get much bigger than this. I mean, good for Kevin Huerter. He's a stud right now for the Sacramento Kings. But if you took that sentence and you put it back in last March, or you put it back in last July, literally that sentence, good for Kevin Huerter. He's a stud right now for the Sacramento Kings. And you put it in any other time period, you would sell Kevin Huerter, right, Kendall?
Oh, yes, 100%. Yes.
So I'm just saying, everybody, I just don't be too proud. Sell Kevin Huerter. And I even think De'Aaron Fox is in a different stratosphere than every other name I've mentioned in this segment. But De'Aaron Fox was not in the situation that he's in now 6 months ago. And so if you've been sitting on De'Aaron Fox cards, now and let's say they're base PSA 10s or they're Prism Silver rookies, or, there's something that's like actually pretty easy to buy back into. Like, let's be honest, everybody. Most De'Aaron Fox cards, 99% of them are going to be pretty easy to buy back into. De'Aaron Fox's market is up huge right now. He's a stud. Don't get me wrong, but I would probably also sell De'Aaron Fox. So those are my sort of sell of the week overview rant. Kendall, what do you got for sell of the week?
I was gonna say Jackson Churio. I mean, like, how can you not pull a card that's not even out of 1 or out of 5? That's 14K and not move it. Like,
yeah.
Like, what are you doing? That's like the hit of your life. And additionally, I saw a really like cool video of these 2 boys that were opening some product earlier this week, and they were opening some product with their dad, and one of the boys, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna let my brother open this pack, and I'm gonna open this pack, and my brother got to open that one because he always pulls fire. It's just these 2 boys that are like, I think like 8 years old, and they're just talking about sports cars, whatever. They open it up, and the brother is like, he just puts it down on the table, and he's just like, oh my god, and like he just like can't touch it, and like the dad's like, what is it? And he's like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and like the brother looks in, and he's like, oh my god, pull of my life, pull of my life. Like he's like, it's never getting better than this. And I was like, what is this card? And they zoom in, and it is a dual Shohei Ohtani Mike Trout auto. Like, it is sick. And I was like, yeah, pull of your life, kid. It's never getting better than that. And so I imagine that kid just paid for his college tuition probably with that card. But like, unfortunately, what I was a little bit pessimistic about is that I hope that kid is not opening product the rest of his life wanting to beat that card. It's not getting better than that. It's just not.
Yeah.
It's never you're never gonna pull something better than that.
That dad needs to bring in like a mathematician to explain the odds of that ever happening again.
Yeah.
To that young stud that
like I just forward out like 50 years, and the guy's like in his panel, like wood panel basement of his parents' house, just smoking a long drag, and he's just like, I never got better than that. Like that was it.
He's gonna be at a card show as well, set up as a dealer.
Yeah.
And he's gonna be sitting there and he's gonna go, one time I had the pull of my life. I was 8.
And it never
like
got
the
any
dude
better.
we saw that wouldn't sell a Josh Giddey for like 40 grand.
Yeah.
That guy's gonna be like,
yep.
One time I had a $40,000 Josh Giddey. Had 2 offers at the National in 2022. Passed on it. Now that card's worth $22. Sorry, it won't be, Kendall. Don't worry.
Won't be. But it's not going to be
it's not going to be 40 grand. No, it's definitely not going to be 40 grand. All right. Well, yeah, just parting shot here. CJ Stroud, 2021 Bowman University Chrome Prospect Auto Refractor, down over the last 90 days, down 15%. This is $170 card right now. I wouldn't mind. I mean, I would tell all of you, you could buy this card. I will virtually guarantee, I will guarantee that you'll be able to sell this card unless it's in horrible condition raw. If it's in good condition raw, I believe you would be able to sell this card for $225 minimum NFL draft time. And if this kid's a starting NFL quarterback and named a starter in August of 2023, this card will be $300, I think. And this is the game that we want all of you to play. We don't want you to necessarily take out bank loans, go into credit card debt to buy all the cards, or buy into a bunch of breaks to try to get the big hit. We think you can make money in a lot of different ways in the hobby. So I don't love CJ Stroud. I don't love Ohio State, but I see a path to success there. And so great show today, Kendall. Do you have anything else you want to tell the audience about before we sign off for today?
Enjoy watching the World Cup, guys. Like, it happens once every 4 years. A lot of cool stuff's probably going to happen. There's just stuff that it's just next level. You got to watch it. Like, I know there's a lot of corruption, but you got to watch it. Additionally, I did my first crossover grade this past week. I crossed over a BGS 9.5 Holland card over, and I got a PSA 10 back. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yes.
So guy's not at the World Cup, but gonna be a guy who's gonna fight for the Golden Boot in the Prem this year. So I'm excited about that. So
Love Holland. He's a guy. He's actually my number one sports card. He's actually my number one soccer card investment during the World Cup, because you go where they ain't. Holland ain't at the World Cup. So it's a great time to buy Erling Haaland. Congrats on the crossover. As you know, Kendall, and for those of you, this is your first time listening to the Sports Card Strategy Show, I am a huge fan of the crossover grade. I think there's a ton of opportunity there, and it's worth the shot as long as a PSA 9 can sell for 70 to 80% of what the grade that you're crossing it over from. You're limiting your downside and you have high upside with the PSA 10. So I really like that. And Kendall, thank you for giving me quite a bit of time to do one more thing that I think you like to tell me to do at the end of the show.
let's cue it, baby.
This has been Sports Card Strategy Show episode 58 with Paul Hickey and Kendall McKee of nooffseason.com. Thanks, everybody, and have a great day.